Hey guys, welcome back. Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. Oh, and there's Kit right behind me. Over here. There he goes. He's leaving. Um, I did a video about New Mexico State Park Pass proposed fee increases not too long ago. I'm going to try and remember to link that to this video as well. There's some really good information in there, but I've got a lot more good information now. So I'm going to start with the fact that I am filming this at Storrie Lake, which is outside of Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Las Vegas, Nevada. Uh, and I know a lot more than I did then. And apparently, I will also admit that I have probably ruffled a few feathers because there have been action on things that came out of a public meeting that I attended. So first of all, we're gonna go ahead and roll the intro, and then we're gonna get into what prompted my comments, and I want to be really clear about this up front. The comments that I made in the meeting and the comments that I'm making in this walk and talk video, as opposed to my friend who is famous for doing drive and talk videos. But I've got Kid out for a walk in the morning, and I'm kind of talking about what my experience is like and how it would be different if my expectations had been set differently. So there's that. I'm going to encourage you really to stay through all the way to the end. I want you to hear as I'm walking the kinds of things that I'm talking about. And I want to jump in and share a little bit about what I've learned in this video, kind of interrupting the walk and talk portion of it. And at the end, kind of give you some conclusions about where I am with it right now and things that I think would be helpful for you to know. So let's roll the intro. And you know what I always say, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'm going to say it right up front. Thank you so much for spending your time watching my videos. I really appreciate that. And if you've got any comments or questions, put them down below. Let me know what you're thinking, and I will be happy to respond to you as well. All right, here's the intro. So Kit and I are out for our morning walk. Here's what you need to know about Storrie Lake. It's long a popular spot for rainbow trout fishing. Also features boating, swimming, camping, picnicking sites, a boat ramp, a playground, and a visitor information center, which is still back over that way. We are 7/10 of a mile away from our campsite, which is way over there. And this is the closest and only operating shower house. We're going to go in and take a look at it. Open 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Ouch. So we've got 2 stalls that are out of order and 2 bathroom stalls with toilets that work. Here's the shower. Not terrible looking. Somebody left their shampoo behind. And this one has plenty of hooks for a change, which is kind of unusual. And the handicap shower is out of order. So we have 1 shower stall serving at least 48 campsites plus primitive. I'm sorry, that seems pretty inappropriate to me. I would love an explanation. So I just walked out of the bathroom in our walk and talk video, and I have to say at that point I was pretty annoyed and really unhappy with the fact that that was the only operating comfort station in the entire park, and it was at less than 50% capacity. And what I didn't say while I was in there was that one of the toilet stalls didn't have any toilet paper. It's like, really? And by the way, this was Father's Day weekend. So the park was going, this was Thursday before Father's Day weekend, but the park was going to be quite crowded. And since this is the only operating comfort station, i.e. shower facility available, now there were a number of vault toilets available throughout the park as well. So let's be clear about that. But it was going to get a lot of use. There was no doubt it was going to get a lot of use. So what I didn't know then is that the 2 stalls that were closed it appeared to me, from peeking through the crack, that it was really a matter of cleaning, not a matter of disrepair. And I was wrong, and I'm happy to admit that. Um, Let me kind of tell you what's happened a little bit. There was a public meeting on Monday, June 17th, that was available via WebEx, and I attended that meeting, and I had a few comments to make about it, about the overall situation. And I want to be clear that my comments were made in terms of expectations based on the proposed fee changes. So for the $225 non-resident annual park pass fee that I've paid, and the $4 a night electricity that I paid, I really don't have any complaints about the condition that this park was in. And when I was in the WebEx meeting call, I said that, my issue is, if you want to charge $600 for an annual park pass and you want to increase the camping fees for electric and water sites from $4 a night to $15 a night, then I think it behooves you to make sure that the facilities are commensurate with the prices that you're charging. And part of the issue is that I think they're trying to make up for having not had price increases for, 20-ish plus years. I think it's been since the 90s, actually. Anyway, I made that comment in the public meeting, and the gentleman who was running the meeting asked me if I would send an email. So I did, and I detailed a lot of what you're going to see as we walk and talk in my email. And I thought I did it relatively politely. I thought I did it very politely, actually. And my point was to convey information, not to make complaints. My point in this entire video is to convey information, not to be complaining. Let's be really clear about that. And also clear, as one of my friends says, my YouTube channel is not a democracy, and I will not have hate. So if you want to complain mightily about something as a result of watching this video, just be aware that you could end up having your comment deleted. And if it's really bad, or you come back again, I might actually ban you. And I haven't ever done that to anybody, and I really don't ever want to have to, but I want to give you fair warning, because I think this can be a little bit of a volatile subject. All right, let's jump back into the video after we've left the restroom, and I'm going to talk through some of the other stuff that I'm thinking about as we're continuing our walk. And just please note, this is a really, really beautiful park. And I want to talk to you about the manager of the park as we get further through this as well, and tell you what the results from the email that I sent were and so forth. Okay, back to the video. For how that can be appropriate. I mean, here's the thing, guys. And I'm not complaining, really, I'm not. So as a non-resident, and here's a beautiful view of the lake with plenty of primitive camping down by the lake. So as a non-resident, I paid $225 for a park pass. And my experience in the parks has been a bit uneven compared to what I was really hoping for. And here's what I mean about that. There's a huge disconnect between the online reservation system, which is handled by Reserve America, and the New Mexico State Parks websites in terms of the information that they provide. So for example, when I booked my site here, in part, I did it because there was a shower house conveniently located near my campsite, not almost 3/4 of a mile away. And, it's part of the amenities that I'm paying for, right? And this is not the first place that this has happened. When I was at Blue Water, those restrooms were closed until Memorial Day weekend. So that was the end of May. And they opened them on the weekend for Memorial Day, but they weren't open before that. All they had were vault toilets. And so when we think about that, and yes, I understand that the New Mexico State Park system is definitely in some financial trouble, but I think that it would behoove them to set reasonable expectations by having the website and the reservation system at least show some level of coordination for what amenities are actually available when you're making reservations. Here's another example. I'm in Site 48R here, and when you look on the reservation system, it says that 46R is a first come, first serve walk-up site. When you get there, 46 is labeled as a camp host. And I have to say, I was pretty annoyed about that when I first saw it, because I had another friend that was joining us here. And that friend said, hey, 46 is a first come, first serve. Let me know if it's available, and I'll come park up in there by you guys, because he had a reservation elsewhere in the park. So I got there and I saw that. I'm like, wait a minute. Well, they gave me a map of the park. Let's look at the lake some more. They gave me a map of the park when I got here. And when I looked at the map, it shows 46R as a camp host site. Now, I would honestly expect a printed map to be less accurate than a website. But the fact that Reserve America shows that as a walk-up site, and somebody could therefore come here with the expectation that that site might be available, might not be available, but certainly not with the expectation it's going to be marked as a camp host site. So, New Mexico State Parks, you're beautiful, but I think you could do better in terms of how things are being addressed. So if you look way over there, kind of right in the middle of the frame, you can see our bathhouse is closed, and there's only 4 sites over there in a group area. And the R stands for Riverside. Come on, Kit. So, does it sound a bit like complaining? I guess I don't want you to think of it as complaining. I want you to think of it as informational. And really all I'm trying to do is help you understand and set expectations. Because here's the other issue. I have called a number of the state parks before I've gone there, and I've asked questions of the people that answer the phone, and the information I get there is conflicting. And in fact, I mean, here I pulled in and I said, I understand 46R is a first come, first serve site. Is that true? And the gal working the check-in desk said, oh yeah. Well, I'm sorry, why did she tell me it was a first come, first serve site when it's clearly marked as a camp host? And oh, by the way, not only is it marked as a camp host site, but there's a trailer in there. Here's the playground. Kit and I'll probably come back here another time and do some agility stuff with him, because he likes to do playground stuff. He just jerked me to a stop. Is there something there you need to be sniffing? You want to say hi, Kit? Want to say hi? Hi. Who's my good boy? Kit. Kit, Kit, look at me. You're my very good boy, huh? So yeah, let's not look at this as complaining, because I'm really only trying to give you information that you might find useful. And just so you know, I mean, every state park that I've been to, I have downloaded their park map from their website. I've studied it carefully on their maps. I've studied it on Reserve America. I've studied it on Google Maps satellite view. You know, and I mean, I'm going to give you another example with this park in particular. My rig is 26 feet 10 inches long. I'm going to have to wait until we get up here, and I'm going to let you see the sign. Oh, here we go. Here's the sign. Here's your sign. So it says River Group Shelter to the right. Sites 47R to 49R. 26-foot limit. Now, I may have to go back and look online again, but I looked pretty carefully when I made my reservation, and I didn't see a 26-foot limit. I'm 26'10", when I saw that and I started pulling in, I was feeling a little bit nervous about it. And I'm thinking, wonder if I'm gonna get down here and have trouble turning around. I mean, I know I'd be able to figure it out, but I wasn't sure how easy it was gonna be. And then, once again, we got this sign coming up here, which says no parking on roadway, park on left shoulder. Of course, it's a great big dip here, so that ain't cool. RV electric area, no units over 26 feet. Wow. Okay, so fortunately, I got up here. I was able to get into my site, although I will admit, I actually banged my awning arm into the side of the stone shelter, so I've got a little dent. Didn't do any damage to the shelter, thank heaven, and not much damage to me. But it's a very small and very narrow site, and basically, I mean, my rig is within 1.5 feet of the concrete pad for the shelter, because otherwise it drops off to the side and I wouldn't be able to get level. So what's the real point here, guys? The real point, let's look at some pretty flowers, because we can always do that. Look at these pretty flowers. Look at these pretty purple flowers. And there's some pretty yellow flowers. The real point is, I think no matter how much research you do, be prepared that you may not be getting exactly what you were expecting. And I've decided to go ahead and share this, again, not to be negative, but because I have spent a lot of time trying to research. Look at these pretty yellow flowers. And it's been fairly difficult to do so, to actually get accurate information. And so I'm going to say this video is designed to give you an idea of what you might find here at Storrie Lake. It's not to discourage you from coming. Hope that makes sense. And hey, if you made it this far, thanks so much for hanging in here. And if you haven't, we'll never know. So a couple of things I want to share with you before we do the final couple of steps on our walk and talk. And here's the thing. This Storrie Lake is managed by, let's see if I can avoid butchering his name, Manuel Villanueva. I think I've got that right. Sorry if I don't, Manuel. Super, super nice guy. Obviously cares about his park. Obviously wants to make things right. Here's part of the issue, guys. People can't fix things if they don't know that there's a problem. And I feel kind of bad that my comments to the guy who was running the public meeting for the proposed fee increases resulted in Manuel having to jump through a bunch of hoops that weren't necessarily necessary. And in fact, I'm going to say this to New Mexico State Parks people, rather than jumping through hoops and trying to do a whole bunch of stuff, start by communicating with the person that is having an issue or potentially having an issue. Because quite frankly, this whole dragging in a toilet trailer, which failed this morning, by the way, as I was leaving to go walk Kit this morning, I hear this water running down in the, it was parked in the group area for us, and I hear this water running, and it's just pouring out of the bottom of this trailer. No idea what's going on there. Doesn't really matter. I immediately got on the phone, called Manuel, let him know what was happening so that he could come down and get it addressed. Stuff happens, guys, and it's really a matter of setting expectations. Now, if you're going to the Storrie Lake website, it's going to say very clearly that the comfort station in the Riverside camp area is not operational. That's okay. That's actually fine. At that point, you have the choice of whether you want to make that reservation or not. And I mean, quite frankly, if I had seen that it was closed back when I made the reservation, I probably would have made it anyway. But I would have been prepared for the fact that the only operating shower house was going to be almost 3/4 of a mile away. Instead, I get that surprise when I get here. I get the surprise of the person at the check-in station is telling me that 46R is indeed a first come, first serve site, and yet it's marked as a camp host. And again, I'm not complaining about the way that Manuel is running this park at all, because I think he's doing an excellent job. And he's got kids working for him. We all know what it's like to work with kids. They have a lot to learn. And part of it is that they just don't have any experience yet. And for the person at the gate, I would say, don't just kind of like nod and smile and say something's true if it's not true. I think that the people at the gate have an obligation to know which sites are designated as camp host sites. And they need to be able to direct people to where unreserved primitive camping is. Those things are important. And that was, in this location, that was one of the things that was missed. Now, I will say at Storrie Lake State Park, when I pulled in there, and that's been some time back now, the woman that was working the gate, who was not a child, she was an adult just like me, she got out the park map and a yellow highlighter and showed us all the places where we could primitive camp without a reservation. And it was awesome. We had plenty to choose from. We understood where we could go and where we shouldn't be going. Everything was great. And just to be clear, I think the New Mexico state parks are overall awesome. I think they've got a lot to overcome with their proposed fee structure. I think that's got a long ways to go. And I think it's also likely I'll be doing some more videos about that. But for now, I hope that this has given you some stuff to think about. And if so, please share your thoughts in the comments down below. I hope you got something out of this. And if you did, of course, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. And as I've said more than once, if you want to leave a comment but you're not sure what to say, you can just say CFYT. That's comment for YouTube. All right, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm going to let you go before we get all the way back to my site. And we'll see you next time.